What's up, everybody? This is your man, DJ Square Knot. And today we have this lovely young lady. She
Oh
has
my
been branding
gosh.
herself from day one. She came up with her name in a very odd way. But once she came up with her name, it just stuck. And from that point on, she was on a quest. She was on a
Oh
mission
gosh.
to do her
Oh gosh.
thing and to make things happen in the arena of entertainment. As she stepped forth in the arena of entertainment, she found herself to be a vocal artist. She found herself to
Hmm.
be a hip hop artist. She found herself
Well,
to be a voiceover specialist. She found herself to be one who can make the sexiest drops in the world. Who am I talking about? None
oh,
other than the one, the only
oh,
T Quest. What's up?
oh, wow. Now that's an
So how you doing?
introduction. I like that right there.
So
You
talk to
know,
me. How are you?
absolutely amazing. How are you? I'm great. I'm always great.
You're always great.
I'm always great. I'm always amazing. I stay positive no matter what. So that's always gonna be my answer.
Well, even if you believe it, that's okay. But if that's your
Absolutely.
blanket answer, then that may be a problem where I may have to delve into a little bit. But we'll see how that goes as we continue this interview. But for now,
Okay.
what I would really, really love to know
Yes.
is what's going on in your life. Tell me, what do you got going? You got any projects? You got anything happening? Who is T Quest? What it be?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have a lot of stuff going on. I feel like every time when it's almost my birthday is when I try to revamp everything that I do, especially business wise. So, as an entertainer and artist working on new music, I'm revamping my clothing line and a couple of new radio stations picking up my shows, a couple of new magazines want me to start writing for them. And it's just a lot of things going on. I can go on forever. I wear a lot of hats. We're not.
Well, as you have these hats, um,
Yeah,
when you're looking at these hats and you're sitting back and you're trying to prioritize, which one comes
yeah.
up as number one for you?
Being a music artist will always be number one. Being a voiceover specialist is what really pays the bills.
Okay. So being a music artist will always be number one, but
Yeah,
the vocal side of you being the voiceover artist and slash drops, can I
hmm,
add that in there, is the thing that pays the bills. So
absolutely.
should it be safe to say that we should actually switch that to number one for the purpose of what we're getting ready to talk about? Before we delve into, we're going to delve into each hat. So it doesn't matter
Hmm,
which one you delve into first, but we will hit every
hmm.
one of them.
Okay, go ahead and hit
So,
it.
as a voiceover specialist slash, you also definitely provide drops for nearly every DJ that I know. Um, so, and then I've heard some of your work elsewhere outside of DJs. So,
Okay.
tell me, what is when you're creating these? Before we go into voiceover work, let's talk about the drops. When you are
Okay.
creating these drops and someone
Mm,
sends you a script, what goes through
okay.
your head for the creation process?
Nothing. Meaning if they send me a script, I just bring it to life. It only becomes more of a creative process when I have to freestyle it. Because then I have to figure out what they will want or desire on my own. So,
Okay, so in numerous drops that I've heard, um,
hmm,
these drops have had anything from the point of where it's just a simple kind of round kind of deal like you normally do, to something to
well,
where literally people want to get undressed from some of the way you
hmm,
sound. So
yes.
that's what I mean in terms of your process. Where does that come in terms of the sexy when you are talking about that, or when you're thinking about that? Do you say, you know what, I got to be extra sexy for this one according to this script, or if I'm freestyling, or am I getting a different frame of mind? I'm trying to find out what that frame of mind is that makes you just produce
Mm.
something that gets people to those extremes.
Hmm. Well, when it comes to the central ones, to be honest, those are the easier ones for me to do.
Hmm.
And when I first started doing drops and stuff, or doing vocal work, it started from me doing skits on projects and female voices on songs, and it started out being sensual. So it's kind of my comfortable realm within all of it. And even though I'm a hip hop artist and I can get hype if need be, the sensual one is just the best lane and the easiest for me to do because it's kind of natural.
Mm.
So I don't have
Mm.
to dig deep or go in a certain mindset. That part is just me.
So the sexy is natural.
Yes, very
I like
much.
I like how you say that. Can you actually say that for me real quick?
Say what?
Say the sexy is natural for me.
The sexy is natural for me.
Hmm. So, as you are working on these different things, as you've said, you've explained that. Now, let's go to your voiceover work. Now, your
Okay.
voiceover work, give me some of the work that you have done in voiceover, because I think I've heard some of your work for the group. Please share.
Okay. Well, of course, the most popular is when I do DJ drops, either for their mixtape, their mixes, or I do drops for radio stations, commercials for businesses, and producing drops. Starting to do some trailers for a couple of movies that's coming out in the next year or so. Um, all different type of things, especially like skits and everything could be hype, sex scenes, like whatever people need my voice for. That's pretty much what I do. There is no limit to what I've done so far.
So, when did you first realize that your voice was going to be the tool to helping you make a living?
I don't know. Like I started from doing music and then started doing radio interviews and then people asked me, "Yeah, you got this voice and being a character." They was like, "You think you can play three different females on my project?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "You know what? Sure." And then after a while, I just started loving it. So what I started to do was invest in studio time to get them done. My engineers at the studio, they couldn't stand me after a while because sometimes I'll pay for sessions just to do drops for everybody, just to get my
Mm.
name circulated. And I spent thousands of dollars investing and doing free drops for DJs to the point my names and voice started circulating so much. After a while, they was like, "I heard you do so and so drop. How much do you charge?" And that's when it started to turn into an actual business.
Cool beans. Cool beans.
Yeah.
So, there's two things that I picked up from that. Right up, we know
Okay.
about T Quest thus far. For one,
Mm-hmm.
she wears a lot of hats, and her voice is
That's
sexy as
assembled.
hell.
Yes,
So,
yes.
the next thing that we want to talk about here is let's step into, being that you have mentioned it several times already, the music artist side of you. Tell us, tell us about that, and tell us what got you started there, who your inspirations are, and also what are your plans in terms of going forward.
Well, I've been doing music all my life. I started writing around like 8, 9, and I mean like full songs, rapping and singing and dancing, and because I always knew I wanted to be a pop star. And then I think high school, my senior years when I transitioned from singing into rapping, and I still was a dancer, a hip hop dancer, and I just kept going because I knew the stage is where I wanted to be. Of course, along the way, a lot of things happened in the business, not knowing the business, where it kind of pretty much tried to strip me of everything. Some traumatic experience working with guys in the industry and them taking me for all I had, on my equipment, on my money. It's definitely been interesting, but I never allowed them to break me because I knew at the end of the day, the stage is where I belong. So I just became a tough cookie and got through it. But I still love it, even though it's not my main focus in this moment. But I'm definitely getting back to that because that's where my true happiness is, and that's what I'm really trying to focus on now.
Cool beans. So tell us about some of the songs that you've released. And then I'm
Hmm.
going to circle back around to the fact that it is Something that I hear that's very common from a lot of artists, when as it
Mhm.
opposed to the industry and how they basically treat you. You put your heart and soul into something, into a project, and
Yeah.
then they don't treat you like you feel that you need to be treated.
Mhm.
Which will I will ask another question pertaining to that, kind of a if you could situation. But tell us about some
Okay.
of your tracks.
Okay. Well, I've I've written and recorded hundreds of tracks, but people don't actually know that because of the situation with different producers. I wasn't able to release them. That's over the years they kept questioning me, like, how are you performing 3 to 5 times a week, but you ain't producing no music for us to actually buy? And it was because of behind the scenes foolery. But I've had all types of songs, from pop songs, hip hop songs, R&B songs. I got compared to almost every female artist in the industry for different reasons. You know, Little Kim because of my lyrical content at one point, my swag from Eve, and then like missing them because she raps, sing, and dance. But when I did a quick revamp of T Quest a few years ago, I was just like, let me actually step into a realm of what's most comfortable for me. And they was like, well, what's comfortable? And I was like, seduction. So that's when I came back out a little bit and was on my grown woman stuff. So I started making love songs, which is perfect for my brand, Gotta Love Me. And now I'm working on some stuff that's still in the realm of love, but with a hip hop swag. So
So in terms of you on your grown woman thing. That's a beautiful thing because that
that's it.
matches where you got a sexy voice, you know how to utilize your voice, and then because you don't want a little girl having what you have, and then they can't match up to it. You get what I'm saying? So you're grown and sexy is
Yeah.
definitely where you want to be. Now, in terms
Okay.
of when it comes to the industry. Like I said, the
Okay.
industry is known for just gobbling up artists and just treating you
Mhm.
bad because the industry is one that if they can't get theirs first, no one is going to get it.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
if you could be the vice, if you could be the president of the industry, not just saying
Okay.
one record company or of another record company, the president
Mhm.
of the industry, what would that industry look like?
Well, I won't be as nice as people think it will be. I'll be respectful but structured. I will only allow people in who have a true passion for what they do, you know, because a lot of music artists that really do this, it's our therapy first. It's not for just attention or what we think will sell because it's what the people want. Like, music is so much bigger than that. And that's what I will focus on, and I'll make sure it's the right people in the right positions and professional and really trying to grow. And you have to be an overall artist. You can't just have the talent, you have to have the business mindset. I'll bring back artist development, which I feel is very important, and just do things the right way. And I'll make sure no one's taking advantage of no one and not power tripping. But that happens a lot, and one person's not better than the other. We're supposed to work collectively as a team, and I'll make sure that happens by any means necessary. You
Very
know?
good points, especially that last one that you made about power trips and
Yes.
being on the same level.
Hmm.
That is very, very important because that can build so many different avenues of relationships and growth and all of that. So I'm glad to hear that you say that. And that's something that even with every individual that we know,
Hmm.
whether they're in groups, whether they're friends, whether they're family, whatever, those
Hmm.
two things flow across the board. So it's
Yes.
very good, because, for example, it's always said that our people, when we get a little position of power, we take it
Hmm.
to a whole nother level. Instead of being humble at the fact that there was someone who thought
Hmm.
enough of you and um, had enough, what's the word I'm looking for here? Um, Belief in you or faith in you
Hmm. Yeah.
to take the position and build on it so that you can make something
Hmm.
bigger instead of chopping it down. So that's very good that you say that. Now,
Well,
you're the
sir,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want to say something really quickly. I know you
Sure.
said that that's an issue when it comes to our people,
Mhm.
but to be honest, especially growing up in a few white neighborhoods and being the only black girl around and working in corporate America for a moment or around it, it's not just our people. A lot of people power trip, you know, it's
Oh, at some point, yes,
society.
they do. And believe me, I'm,
They,
I say our people, but I don't say it like
yeah,
as a absolute.
no, I understand.
I say it
And
more
I,
of,
yeah,
some of the things that we experience, of course,
hmm,
instead of it being something where we could be unified and
yeah.
work and build together in that sense.
Absolutely. And I totally get that to a certain degree. Just like the other day when I interviewed B Jones, the producer from like Love and Hip Hop, who worked with like Bad Boy and Uptown Records, Violator, etc. And I was just asking him questions because he started as an intern for Bad Boy, and I'm like, well, tell me about some of the stereotypes that are not true, you know? And to be honest, he was like, at the end of the day, it was not as bad as people may think it is because of what people say. It's like, as long as you work hard and do what you got to do and you stay humble, and really focus on your main goal, like anything is possible. And he was
Indeed.
like, he actually appreciated the fact that working for like Andre, that it was just a lot of great black entrepreneurs, like executive producers and all this stuff, just really working together. Our people, our culture, our vibe, our music, our energy. And I'm like, that's the type of stories I like to hear when it comes to us being out here in this industry, not always the negative talk.
Right.
I'm so sick of our culture only talking about negative things, not the positive part.
True.
We're very gifted and talented, and we have to start really praising one another instead of talking down on one another. I don't like that stuff. Like I don't.
Indeed. I totally agree. I totally agree 100%. Now, in terms of that, that brings up, a good point, where he made, in terms of you put in the work, you do what you're supposed to do, and
Yeah.
you can succeed.
Mhm.
And if you fall, just get back up, brush off, and keep going.
Crack them on.
And I always say that as well. It's one of those things
Mhm.
where I truly believe in this, and I'll get your point on this. When it comes to putting forth work, when it comes to putting forth ideas, when it comes to um, exposing yourself to something that you want to be, that you're trying to be greater at.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, Sometimes there's something called a season,
Yeah.
and when you think that you should succeed, it may not
Mhm.
be your season. So, but the key
Mhm.
there is to believe and also stay focused.
Absolutely.
You have to stay focused.
Mhm.
But you find a lot of people that when they fall or when it doesn't work out the way they need it to work, they give
Mhm.
up.
Yeah.
Now, with me saying that, you know where the next question is coming.
I can feel it.
You can feel it. So you know where it's coming. So,
Mhm.
has there ever been a time in your life, especially dealing with the industry,
Mhm.
where that has happened to you? And what did you do to get yourself back on track?
I mean, it happened pretty much in the beginning of my career. I came in with the talent, the drive, the ambition, and the capital to invest in myself. But for the fact that I didn't know the business and I didn't know anybody who did music, I was the only person in my family did music. I didn't have friends and family to guide me. I pretty much threw myself to the wolves, and I didn't realize I was going to get trampled on, and attacked. But it is what it is. But yeah, it was crazy. Me and all these different guys talking about how they could help me with my career. They see a lot of potential in me, and then some New Yorkers try to change my image. I'm like, well, what you saw me do on stage is what gravitates you. So now that you want to work together, why are you trying to change me? Then
Mm,
I'm not gonna be authentic anymore. Or other ones are like, why don't you come to me around the corner? Let's
mm,
get to know one another better. I'm telling you, do you know
mhm.
who I am? I could change your life. I could change your career. I'm like, here we go. Or going in different meetings with different producers and executives, and they over here trying to steal my cookie. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have to fight dudes when all I'm trying to do is make music, you know? It shouldn't have to be like this, but sometimes it happens, and sometimes you don't always win the fight. But at the end of the day, long as I got out safe and alive, like I don't even think about it much anymore. Even when it comes to trying to work with certain guys and they have girlfriends and baby moms and wives that's looking at me funny because they're insecure to the point I wasn't able to even finish none of my projects. It was just always something. But at the end of the day, even though I had to deal with that stuff by myself and kept it to myself for a lot of traumatic experience and nightmares, every time someone asked me how's everything, I just told them it was great, you know? Because at the end of the day, I wasn't going to give up on my dream no matter what happened to me. I was still going
Gotcha.
to push forward and I had to start over hundreds of times. And I don't care, you know? I lost a lot, but I didn't lose my life. I lost a lot, but I didn't lose my talent. If I got to start over yet again, it is what it is. I know what I'm destined to do.
Got it. So I'm glad that you do that. It's amazing how you're doing this because you're actually bringing up all the stuff that helps me segue into the next one. But you pretty much answered this one because my next question was going to be, being that you had got into the industry, you started doing some things. And
Hmm.
of course, you're going to deal with guys. Um, and of course, you're not a bad looking woman. You're very attractive. So you're going to have guys that are going to come. They're going to try to throw themselves at you. You're trying to
Hmm.
get your work done. And of course, they're going to throw themselves and say, hey, yo, check it out. Won't you come roll with me for a little bit so that we can talk a little
Hmm.
bit, talk about a little
Yeah.
bit about your project, which turns
Hmm.
out to be, how about the cookie, kind of deal. So,
Hmm.
you've already answered that. No need to delve further into that. But I kind of figured that's where that would definitely lead. And we can tell with the strengths that you have in your inner strengths, you were able to resist and move on and actually continue to pick yourself up where that help was left or dropped off. So that's beautiful. So now
Yeah.
we've talked about your voiceover and your drops. We've talked about the entertainment hat. So
Hmm.
now we're going to talk about your clothing line. And also,
Okay.
you also have a makeup line, from my understanding, as well.
Okay.
So let's talk about those. Tell us about those and tell me what influenced you and what the names are and all of that.
Okay, so yes, I started my clothing line, the GLM collection, a few years ago. And to be honest, when I was younger, I actually used to draw clothes. I'm like, one day I'm gonna have me a clothing line because in my mind, I always saw myself as an entertainer, but I always saw myself as a businesswoman too. In my $1 trillion business, in my office, being an executive, just having this whole empire with my name on everything, Questify everything, GLMalize everything. So clothing line is pretty much a marketing tool for the business. So I'm like, it's only right for me to have one. So I started one, and it's kind of dope. It's called the GLM collection. We had different versions of it. One of the most popular is the rare breed section of it, and just comfortable, casual clothes for different people, women, children, teenagers, kids, babies, dogs, men. Like I took it there. And definitely doing a revamp. And I started my cosmetic line. We started with the lip glosses, which is all natural ingredients inside of it. And what makes my lip gloss unique is it comes with its own mirror and LED light already in the packaging of it. So you don't need multiple things. You don't need to hold a light. You don't need to hold a mirror. It's all right there. Makes it more convenient for the consumer. Because I remember one of my business meetings, they was like, "Well, we'll make sure product different from the rest. So I had to make sure that it was unique, so I can stand out, even when it comes to me as an entertainer. So doing a little something, something.
Cool beans. Now, you mentioned a word
Yeah.
in there
Mm,
that I like, and that word is
yeah.
questify. That
Yeah.
sounds like something that I envision you with a magic wand, and everything that you touch, you questify it, and it turns into gold or something else, like that. But that is
Okay.
also a term where that you should basically make sure you try to hold on to that term. And you can do
Yeah.
that multiple ways, and I'll talk to you about those offline. But yeah, I would definitely. definitely try to think about that. But that's a really, really good
Mhm.
term, to questify.
Yes.
And you believe in a $1 trillion company. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. You put that in the air, that just gives you
Mhm.
something to work towards, to a vision to work towards, to and to make things happen. So I always
Absolutely.
say, well, if you believe it, it can
Mhm.
be done. So
Yeah.
you just have to put in the work and effort, and where you
Mhm.
don't have full resources,
Mhm.
investigate resources that will assist. So you can definitely do that. So now we've talked about. I won't delve any more into the clothing line and
Mhm.
the makeup. We've also talked about the other two, the artist as well as the voice package.
Yeah.
So now we're moving on down
Mm.
to this big hat. Now, this is the biggest hat of all,
Oh,
because this
really?
is the exposure hat.
Okay.
So now this exposure hat, you've told me many times, Square Knot, you can ask me any question you want.
This is true.
So now we move into several things. Now
Uh-huh.
it's up to you just how personal you want to get. But you tell me before I start asking these questions.
Okay.
So, how personal can we get?
I'm an open book square. So what's up?
Open book. So, T Quest.
Yes.
So, T Quest, you're born and raised in Connecticut, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. At this particular time, you are living in the Midwest.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, in your time, you're now approaching your 30s, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll be 33 in 2 months.
33. That's a beautiful thing. 33.
Almost
So
30.
you've done a lot in the time. Every
Oh.
time I talk to you, you got 16 different things going on in a day. But there's one thing that I never ever hear you say,
Uh-huh.
and I have
Okay.
gotten, and I have gotten on you about that on a personal level, because you and I have personal conversations sometimes. I have to
Okay.
coach you sometimes. I would call it. Is that what you would call it? Is that
I don't know where I don't know.
you wouldn't
Continue.
call it coaching? Um,
I
but
call it being nosy.
okay, that's fine. That's fine. But I would always tell you, you do all
Yes.
of these things
Yeah.
throughout the day, from the
Mm-hmm.
time that you wake up to the time that you go to sleep,
Correct.
and none of it's
Uh-uh.
for you.
Oh.
It's always for someone else.
I didn't know it was going there.
So then I
Ugh.
tell you to take an hour, take 2 hours out of the day. Do you recall this
Uh-huh.
conversation?
Yes, sir.
So, as we have had this conversation numerous of times about me telling you to take time,
Yeah.
right here in front of, let me see, how many witnesses do I have? 12 witnesses. Have you done, have you put in that request? Have you acted on that request more than once?
Um, to be honest, totally forgot about it. Um,
Mm.
but I have, I think it was last weekend or so, I did take a break off of social media for the most part
And how long did that break last?
over the weekend.
Is that right?
So, yes, like 2 days.
Okay,
And
so
certain things I would check, but if it wasn't a priority, I just left it alone. And it was definitely refreshing.
well, I'm sitting here reading Miss T's comment, and she said no, she didn't.
Say what now? What are you talking about?
Mhm. So,
I attempted, I did, and it felt good. But
mhm,
the way the way my life is, and it's because of me. It's
indeed.
harder, and I'm trying my best to switch things around so I
Mhm.
can actually put myself in my schedule. Easier said
Now,
than done, but I am
be-
trying.
let's stop right there.
Yes.
Let's rewind what you just said, and I need you to repeat it again. Start from
No.
start from put.
put your right foot in, you put your right
Mm-mm.
foot. um, I try and put myself in my schedule.
Stop right there. Now, let me answer this one question.
Yes.
Who are you?
99.9% of the time, T-Quest.
Okay. So even if we had T-Quest slash Terra, right?
Yes.
That's the
Mm-hmm.
100%, right?
Yes, sir.
So on the others, let's do a math equation real quick. You ready for this?
I'm always ready.
The world
Mm-hmm.
minus T-Quest
Mm-hmm.
equals what?
A disaster.
The world minus T-Quest equals the world keeps moving on.
Oh gosh. Let me look
So
this up.
as you don't take
Mm-hmm.
time for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like at a job.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to leave here today, if you're on a job and you were to leave today, that employer would replace you in a heartbeat with the next person. So what I say to you is just to take time for yourself. We won't beat a
Uh-huh.
dead horse on that, but I wanted to make
Mm-hmm.
sure I got that out there in the air with witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to move into relationships. So,
Yes.
being that you are an open book,
Mm-hmm.
there was a couple things that you said, and I've heard you say numerous times before. You,
Okay.
one, when it comes to love, you
Mm-hmm.
really, really seek that. You really, really want that. True.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Explain to me what love means to you.
um, love means everything. Love is happiness. Love is security. Love is pure. Love is selfless. Love is enchanting. Love is complicated. Love is therapy. Love is healing. Spirit, I can go on
Keep going.
forever when
Keep
I
going.
think of love.
I'll let you.
Yeah.
I'll let you know when you need to stop.
Love is laughter. Love is innocent. Love is, love is just a deep affection for
Okay.
something or someone, if you want to go by the dictionary's definition.
Okay. So now I'm gonna hit everyone on this one with this one. So everyone can partake in this one right here. And it pertains to this right here. The one thing that T Quest forgot to mention, as probably you guys probably were naming and forgot to mention as well, is love is me.
I knew you was gonna say that, and I almost said it out loud too.
Facts.
I really was gonna end it with "Love is me" as if I was doing a poem, because I wrote a poem like that before, and I ended it with "Love is me."
Because if you do not love yourself, you
Mm-hmm.
can't love anything else.
You're
Absolutely not.
right. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely nothing else. So
Yep.
I know you've been in love before, and we're going to fast forward past that because we had an in-depth conversation that took us on a trip that I didn't really mean to take you on that trip, but it just happened to be that case. But just know it was a very emotional case, correct?
For who?
So, but the point here is when we're talking about now, if you want to delve into that,
Screw no, I'm an open book. I
okay,
don't
okay, babe,
care.
okay. So now I got into this thing with T Quest about I asked her about love, and then I said, has she ever loved, and has she when was the last time she was in love? When 'cause the difference there is You can love someone. Like I can love all my homies. I can love
Mm-hmm.
my brothers and sisters, but I am in love with my wife. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I love her,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm also in love with her. So there is a deep felt emotional attachment to her that is a connection between us two that no one else can share. So
Yeah.
in a case like that with you, I had
Mm-hmm.
asked you about that, and you said
I forgot.
you told me about a specific individual,
Okay.
and that individual, you know, you were blinded.
Ugh.
Do we want to
Um,
do we want to dig
I don't
there
know.
or not?
I
It's
don't
up
know
to
if I
you.
said that word, but okay.
Do we want to dig there or not?
We can dig. I'm an
Okay.
open book, Square.
Okay. So you told me about this guy, and
Okay.
it got to the point where you pretty
Mm-hmm.
much were the one that was the winner, the breadwinner, that had everything. Do you recall that conversation now?
Yes.
Tell me about that. Tell me about that. And you can do a brief synopsis of it. What I'm trying to get is for everyone on this call to understand that the power of what love will make you do and the power that love has to blind you when it's in situations like that. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I met someone and love at first sight. Not that he was like hot, but it was just the energy. It was the vibe. It was that enchanted chemistry. That's what it was. And in my mind, I thought he was the one, but he came with a lot of baggage. But I never judged him for it. Maybe it was just a test, you know, test my test my strength and to see if I would do anything for love. So I did. I never judged him for his past. I never judged him for his baggage. I never looked down on him because of what he didn't have. I just saw him for the man he was. And in my mind, I would be that woman that will let him know that no matter what you've been through, what you're going through, you still deserve love. And be that woman that just changed your mind about everything. Like she gave me a chance. You know, she showed me what happiness is supposed to be and love is supposed to be. So I was always there for him, no matter what. Call, text, emergencies, I was there. If he needed anything, I was there. If I didn't have it, I went to go get it. Whether it was something simple as lunch or dinner, or um, car breaks down, need a tow, financial things. Because in my mind, if you truly love someone, you would do any and everything for them and always be there for them. And that's what I was until I opened my eyes and realized everything was one sided and it became a problem. And after a while, my love just got exhausted. And I was like, I can't do this no more because I didn't ask anything of you. You know, never pressured you, never judged you. And when a situation happened and he couldn't even give me the right words, at least I was like, I'm good on this. My love was exhausted. So I had to, part ways. Yeah.
So in the lesson that was learned there, and I had you share that because that's a powerful message. If you guys didn't read in between the lines of all of that, and that is like I said, love will make you do certain things. Um, T Quest was very good to share that with me at that particular time, as well as sharing it with you guys now. And it's a message that could literally be written in a book, written on something every day for you guys to understand that you have something within you. You have something that is great, but if you allow someone to see that vulnerability for the wrong reason, there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable to the right person. Let me correct that. Let me make sure I say that. There's nothing wrong with being vulnerable to the right person, but sometimes You just have to keep your eyes wide shut. If you get what I'm saying, you got to keep them wide open to the point where you are seeing everything on all sides of the individual as they approach it, because sometimes diamonds aren't really diamonds. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So she did that and she shared that, and I thought that was really, really powerful on her side. Now, moving forth to the funny stuff,
Oh, there's a funny. Okay.
you were sitting in a group one night,
Oh.
and there was a conversation going on, and it was a dare, I think. Yes, it was a dare. And you
Mhm.
said, you were asked, T Quest, what do
Uh-huh.
you miss most? And you said,
I don't know what you're talking about.
yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Really?
Yeah.
You want me to type it in? Let me type it in the chat box.
No, wait. No, what was it? Just say it. I don't care. I don't. What?
You said penis.
I said that?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So then,
Okay.
so th- so then that brought about another question. I was like, okay, so you have been in the Midwest for what, under a year now, right?
Yeah.
Still under a year.
Hmm.
And I know that, you, with your work schedule and something like that, which I've been on you about that. Um, take time out for yourself to meet someone that you can have, that you can really get to know, so that you don't be in those type of predicaments. And you said
What is it?
something to the
No.
effect that there's nobody, you know,
Um, that can keep my attention long enough.
something to that sort. So tell us about that. Why can't someone keep your attention?
I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, when if you have the mindset of like traditional things, you only looking for that one person. So everyone's not going to meet that person in high school like they claim it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it takes longer. And like I can meet people all the time. I meet guys all the time. And there's a lot of guys that into me like that, but I don't see them as a potential like relationship partner. And they're like, "Oh, we have so much in common." I'm like, "I have stuff in common with a dog too. What's your point?" Like, it has to be something special, and it just hasn't happened. And as I grow older, I'm more wiser, and I call the shots now. Before I was very quiet and timid, and I just wanted to make sure everybody else was happy and okay. So I let a lot of things happen that shouldn't have. And now I'm like, no, I do things on my way, my terms, my time that I'm comfortable with. And if I'm not into someone like that, it is what it is. I have to stop sparing my feelings to protect others.
So this is the last question I'm going to ask you before I turn it over to all the members who are here at this particular
Oh,
this
they ask
particular
questions
deal. So
too.
they get a chance to ask you
Okay.
questions too. So they each get a chance to ask you a question. So, but I want to ask you this one thing. I want to give you a scenario. Um, you There is an Amazon for build your man. There's an Amazon before, and there's a section that says build your perfect man inside and out. So with this,
Uh-huh.
you have to grab the body style, the height,
What?
the color, what are all the body features that you want to add. They're all plug and play features. um, then
Okay.
then once you get all of that set, if he wants him to have a lot of hair, is he bald, does he have a beard, the whole all of that, right? Then
Okay.
If you want them to have gold teeth, you can put all that in there. This is a full A to Z shop. That's what Amazon's. If you look at Amazon's logo, you notice the smile goes from A to Z. That was specifically designed for that. Amazon is telling you we have everything from A to Z. So that's where we're going with this. So now,
Mhm.
um, inside you can put the type of heart. Is he sensitive? Is personality? Is he hardcore? Is he a roughneck? Do whatever. So now T Quest walks into this Amazon. She picks up this shopping because she grabs a shopping cart and she goes down the
Uh,
first aisle. The first aisle says men. You turn down that aisle. You are into men.
yes.
Okay, I asked that question. I just say that. So now you turn down the men aisle, right? You turn down the men
Okay.
aisle, and there you go. Right off the bat, you start picking up. You go from they got every body style from the 5 foot man to the 7 foot man. So then you grab the torso, you grab the feet, you grab the head, you grab all the fingers, the parts, the penis, whatever you want. You grab it
Uh,
all. Then you go down the line. So I want you to start from A to Z on your
what?
man, build your man. And guess what? You only have 5 minutes to do it.
Man, you wildin'. I mean, at the end of the day, you know me, it's not really about physical features, it's all on the inside.
Well, you still got to pick a body because you just can't have physical features without having something
Okay.
to put it in.
Okay. Okay, so height wise, even though it's not a big deal, I prefer men if I can pick to be taller than me. I think the
And
height
you are how
of
tall?
I'm 5'5".
5'5". Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we're looking at least 5'6". Okay, go ahead.
Wait a minute now.
You
If I
said
had to
taller than you.
pick, yes, taller. If I had to pick, I think the perfect height for a guy is like 5'11", right?
Okay, go ahead.
But 5'10" to 6'3" is cool. Anywhere in there. Um, Skin tone doesn't matter. If I had to pick, I'll pick someone just brown skin like I am, I guess. Hair doesn't really matter as long as it's done properly, but I'll take maybe a low cut. Um, my favorite feature on guys is lips. Because if I don't like the way your lips are, if you can't kiss or you got bad breath, there's no way in life we can ever date. That's my shallow moment. A nice smile is cool. If not, and it just didn't work in your genetics, it is what it is. Um, Built wise, I'm not into those muscular dudes like that. But something I could grab onto. You gotta have some type of meat on your body because I love giving massages, and I don't like massaging like bony dudes, and I don't like massaging with the body all muscle. Like I need something grip, right? Something I can just when I hug you, I just feel safe. That's a big deal. Um, Size don't matter, but I just need somebody who can really keep up with me because I have a lot of energy when it comes to that. Um, um, Personality wise, I like a best friend with benefits, someone with a great personality, someone I can laugh with, joke with, cry with, not really cry with, you know what I mean? Someone I could be vulnerable with, but don't call me sensitive or think I'm weak because I need to express myself if I'm passionate about something. To the point like if I have to shed tears because it being an industry that I am, we go through a lot. I cry myself to sleep many nights, but nobody really knows that. But the type that be like, no, it's okay to let it out. A release is healthy, not like don't be all sensitive. Like I can't have all that. You gotta have my back, because I realize with everything that I go through, the type of man I would kind of need is an alpha male, that I feel safe and secure around. I know you got my back and I don't gotta question that.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Someone that understands what I do for a living, know that I work a lot, but won't throw it in my face and make me feel bad about it, you know? And just here to not take over, but to help and guide if need be, but respect the fact that I know what I'm doing and just be here. Like I'm gonna be there for them, you know? I'm very quick to cater to somebody, but to be honest, I would like to be catered to, because even though I'm about to be 33, I've never experienced everything I've been writing about my whole life, which is love. And I've never been in a relationship. I've never been someone's girlfriend's bae, lady, like none of that stuff. And then when I was talking to dudes in my situationships, most of back then in my 20s, I'll be the one like paying for stuff or the one driving. Like it's been bad, and I've never had the opportunity to be the girl in my songs. I've never had the opportunity just to be a lady, just to be a woman, you know? And
Hmm.
that's what people like, you have fantasies, like everything other people dream of. I don't dream of that stuff. Everything I desire is normal stuff. I just never experienced before, you know? So, but just a guy who's cool. Like he's suave, like nerdish with a swag. I like a smart guy, but not an arrogant guy. If he has glasses, that's kind of hot. Someone that we could be cool, but you can vibe, like a chameleon. Like we can go to a wedding, any race, and we can just rock out, especially on the dance floor during the reception. And then karaoke night is not afraid to pick up the mic and be silly, not a dude that's too macho, but let his hair down a little bit. Just know how to have fun. Life is too short, you know. I want to have my back because I'm always gonna have theirs.
Mm.
Did I cover everything square now? Because I ain't trying to be long winded. I don't want to bore the people that's listening.
Sounds like you're looking for an IT guy with swag.
Oh
That's what
my,
that
that's
sounds like to
dope.
me.
And technology is the future and it's the present. So you're. No,
Sounds like to me an IT
I'm
guy
gonna
with
end up
swag.
marrying a DJ.
An IT guy with swag who is also a DJ.
I mean, I went through my little phases when talking to dudes. I went through my artist phase, my comedic phase, the promoter phase. The DJ phase is always gonna be there. It's just something about them, the way they, spin them records. And style.
Oh boy. Gotcha, gotcha. So
We're gonna be on tour together.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So of course, you know that I can continue to talk to you because I got so much more I could talk about.
I
But
know.
we do have our distinguished guests in here this evening.
Oh, we do.
All of our DJs. We have a host in here, Miss T. She is oh my God, I'm sorry, Miss T. Forgive me. Um, but she is an artist representative, I guess.
PR.
PR. Um,
Uh-huh.
I think that's what it is, but she'll correct me when it's time for her questioning. So, so now what we're going to do is, of course, I'm going to have each of the DJs here and each of the individuals here ask you a question, and we're going to start
Okay.
off with our primary admin in the group, and that's DJ Rod Flash. What's up?
It's actually not a question, but it's more
Okay.
so listen to you. It seems like you engulf yourself in nothing but work, work, work. But sometimes you gotta take time off for yourself. Like you 33, and I have a daughter your age, but is you gonna get to a point where you gonna be left alone and you just gonna be there by yourself when all this music stuff is over and gone?
I can understand that. And it's not what I wanted, but since I got into the industry and they took everything from me, I'm just like, I got to get it back and then some because of all I lost. Until I feel comfortable or where I'm at in life, I'm always going to be a go getter. But to be honest, if a certain person come into my life that can grab my attention, then I can find a balance. But until then, I'll forever work on my brand. And then, of course, which I need to transition into more is working back on me.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. So I miss Tara. I
Mm.
haven't seen her since I became T Quest, and I became T Quest in the eighth grade.
Well, Flash, you got
Yeah.
something else?
That's it.
So before we
Thank
move to
you,
the next
Flash.
individual, I do want to say this. Two things. You have
Yes.
admitted that you miss Tara, which means that you can go get her. Number two, anything that you have lost in terms of when you were trying to do it and it involved time, guess what? Time is something that you can never get back.
Uh,
So anything that you spent time on, all you can do is just chalk it up to, I did this back then and it didn't work, but from this point forward, I am going to use my time to do this.
uh-huh.
Time is one thing that we can never get back. That's why it is absolutely the most valuable thing that a human has. So
Yes.
just remember that. Um,
Uh-huh.
Now, the next individual that I want to do is Miss T. What's up?
I don't have any questions. I just interviewed her not too long ago, but
Well,
yeah,
share a piece of that interview. Share something that you learned about T Quest when you interviewed her.
that she needs to slow down. That it's not going to happen overnight. I tell her that all the time, but she knows that I support anything that she does, and I'm going to continue to do that. Um, Not just as a PR, but as her friend. But I think the biggest thing that I learned from her is that she has a humble spirit.
Most
So I think
definitely.
that's the biggest thing that I learned from her.
Yes, most definitely. Without a doubt, hands down, I'll write a check on that, that she has a
Uh-huh.
very humble spirit. That's the most def. I will definitely agree to
Yeah.
that.
So that's all I had to say.
DJ. Okay, go ahead, Miss T. What'd you say?
No, I said that's all I had to say.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. And I always call this my man that travels from north to south on the eastern seaboard, my man DJ I-95. What's up? Uh-oh. Hey, Flash, we may have caught him while he was asleep. First time ever.
My
We'll
only Connecticut person fell asleep on me. See what I'm saying? That's why I had to leave.
we'll 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 we'll, we'll connect back with DJ I-95, but we're gonna move over to my man who speaks with his hands. He's not for lots of words, but when he says it, it is powerful. My man, DJ Silent Professor.
Good evening. Good evening. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing all right. Don't have a question, but it's something that I said to you a while ago. You can't pour from an empty cup. Just let it sit right there.
Okay.
There's a
You got
theme. There is definitely a theme going on here.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens to the one that you call Swervy. DJ Swerve hits. What's up? Let's see if he's here. He may have stepped away. Oh, there he is.
Request say it right for him.
Swervy.
Okay, do you want to have kids?
Not anymore. It's no
Why
longer a
not?
dream. Um,
Or a kid? One at least.
I just facing my reality, and I've always wanted them. I wanted the picture perfect family you see on TV, to be honest, but I'm at that point now. I don't want them anymore. And I face the fact that if I end up being with someone, most likely I'm end up being like a stepmom because so many other people have kids, and I'm okay with that. I'm
Why
okay.
you don't want no more?
I just don't really see it in my future or in my present. Like, if it just happens to happen organically, then of course I'll be the best mother ever. But as long as I still have the option, I'm okay. If I end up being with someone, they want to have a child, okay. But if it's up to me, no. I kind of like my freedom, and even though I'm a good person, I still have a lot of work to deal with me, and that would just be me pouring out more into someone else and forget to pour back into myself. So it's okay. And I mother a lot of people. You know, I don't have to give birth to a child to give them that motherly love, and I do it to a lot of people. Whether
What
it's
about
my
marriage?
um, that's still in my dream, but um, I'm okay if I don't get married. Long as I find that person that's meant for me and we have a bond and a union, I'm happy with just being in love.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let others answer questions.
All right. Thanks, my man.
All
Then we
right.
got DJ Michael E. What's up, my man?
Hello there, T Quest.
Hi.
I'm just wondering, how was it like, or do you find it simple to promote your voiceover work? How do you go about doing that?
To promote it?
Or how do you market?
Oh, well, like I said, I reached out personally to DJs and offered free ones, and I invested in the time at the studio to get it done for them. And then my name just started circulating. And then once they started hitting me up, I made sure that I had samples for the newcomers to hear some new stuff. So I started putting some samples on like my website and my app and everything. And go from there. It's pretty much word of mouth, or they hear me while other people are playing. And then sometimes I'll go in different like DJ groups and stuff and drop some information in there. And I actually go to the conventions and network.
Okay.
And just talk to them, talk to producers, talk to movie directors, because they got to have trailers, they need voices, placement. So yeah, communication and building relationships is everything, and I can tell from personality.
Well, shout out to you. You in your 30s and you're going places. I can tell. And you are young, so don't think that it's coming to an end anytime soon. You got a long way to go. Stay with it.
Absolutely.
You're an interesting person.
Oh, thank you.
All right, keep up the good work.
Always.
So then we got my man. We call him the ad-libber, the one, the only, the one that is the music to your movement. DJ Joe Storm.
Oh boy. What's going on, T Quest? What's up with you?
Hi, Stormy.
I really ain't got no questions. I remember, when you started doing my drops,
Mm-hmm.
I seen, your progression. Seeing how hard you work, and all I can say is keep doing what you're doing and just keep getting better, at everything that you do. But you're good. You're great in my eyes, and you're great to others. So that's all I gotta say, really.
I appreciate that. I do. And I love watching your lives, and I just can be scrolling on Facebook and I just hear my voice. I'm like, oh, it's Stormy.
Yeah, I bangs that drop.
I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah. Yep. I appreciate you.
Aw, hearts.
Cool beans. So it looks like DJ I-95, the man that's traveling from the Eastern Seaboard, he is back. You have a question for T Quest?
No questions. I appreciate the drop. I appreciate getting a chance to be around you. You're a dope artist. You're a dope entrepreneur.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. So next we have your bestie, Miss DJ. I'm sorry, DJ Miss Official. Now your bestie should be able to share some real stuff about you.
Oh man, hey sis.
Hi.
Of course I can share. I can share a lot about T-Quest. I spend enough time with her every day. But she exactly like you told her to get back to Tara. We've had that conversation, Square Nine, and
Yes.
she knows. Even though she says she took a break, she didn't take a break, and I'm gonna get on her about that. No matter how hard we work, The one thing we need to do is you have to be relaxed. You got to be relaxed and you got to be just, take some time for yourself, because if you don't, and she knows I'll tell her this, you're going to burn yourself out. And burning yourself out is not going to be a good thing, because you're not going to be good to anybody if you burn yourself out. You're not going to be good to yourself if you burn yourself out. And she know I love her. So keep doing what you're doing, baby girl. And you know where we at.
Cool beans. So then we got my man. Can I get an MFN interview?
What?
We got my man from H-Town. We got two brothers from H-Town. We're going to go with the first one, the 6'6" monster, the man, the deep voice legend, the cigar connoisseur, the man that brings the noise and just has everybody moving. DJ Big Said, what's up?
I just want to say salute to all you kings and queens in the building. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep living. That's it.
My man, you next. So now we got the only one that likes to go to the turkey leg hut and the Whataburger spot. As a matter of fact, when we
What?
came on, he said he was going to Whataburger then. My man, DJ Big Dooley, what's up?
Nah, I went to Taco Bell instead.
Oh, damn. That's a downgrade like a mug, yo.
What's going on, T-Quest?
I'm great. Life is going on. This interview is going on.
All I want to say is keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing a hell of a job.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
And as my friend would say, stay on their neck.
That's a little awkward after what just happened with George, but I totally understand where you're coming from.
Not in a bad way.
I know. I will.
Cool beans. Well, as you see, there's a theme. Either you're being told that you need to take time for yourself and just really relax every once in a while, which is a great thing. For example, I can give you another recommendation where you have no other choice but to do this. You have to take a bath every day, right?
Yes.
So instead of taking a shower, why don't you get in the tub, get you a glass of wine, get you some Epsom salt or some other type of salts or bath salts or whatever. Get you either read you a book, put the phone down, turn it off, or put it on, or better yet, so that you can catch up on your calls later. You can put it on. You can put it on do not disturb, because that means your phone will not ring. Everything will go to voicemail, or everything will just hold up in your text system without any sound. You could do that. Now, if you take that time, 45 minutes a day, over the course of a week, you will have already reached over 2 hours, 3 hours almost, as a matter of fact, doing that. Just something as simple as that. And that's taking time to yourself to collect your thoughts. You ain't got to be like Rev Run when he in the bath, when in bubble bath.
I've done that, and I accidentally dropped the phone in.
Yeah, but it's just a matter of taking time. So think about that, just something as simple as that, because what we have learned is that T-Quest, even when she's standing still, she's like that cartoon character where her legs are still moving like Speedy Gonzalez, right? So we have to help you in a way that we can, any way we can, with recommendations, of course, because we can't make you do anything. You're a grown woman. But we see great things in you. And the other flip side to that, the other thing is you do great work. You're a great person. You have a great heart. Everything about you seems to be in order. You have confidence, which is a beautiful thing in itself. That's extremely sexy for a woman, to have confidence. That's the other thing. Besides, there's three things I always say when it comes to women that makes them sexier than anything possible. And that is
Mm-hmm.
their confidence, their desire, their focus, and they're willing to learn. Those three things give you everything you need in your tool bag, because each of
I
them,
wasn't paying attention. You said confidence,
confidence, focus,
focus,
and the
and
willing to learn.
willing to learn.
If you have those three things, they will, each one of those is a star. They have, each one of those is a star, and they have 5 legs each. And each one of them will spread out into something else that will make a mesh that will build your fabric to make you as strong as possible as a woman. And your interior and your exterior will be to the point where you have a complete glow of everything that is you with those
Mm-hmm.
three things. So you have that. You just have to use that. So that's great that you have it. Because I've seen you where you're willing to learn. You have confidence, and you definitely have focus. So you have those. It's just a matter of spreading off. Now, the part that you need to do now is the willing to learn with a little bit of focus, but willing to learn. And you know what it is? You know why I
What?
say willing to learn? Because you have to be willing to learn how to let yourself rest. You see how that ties in?
Uh-huh.
Make sure you remember that. I'll leave you with that. Now, there's a couple of questions I wanted to ask you before we close out, and that is,
Okay.
if you could make a movie today
Uh-huh.
and you either wrote the movie and had to star, you got a whole cast, or if you made the movie and you were part of them and you were the star in the movie,
Uh-huh.
what would the movie be called? And what role, if you were in the movie, would you play? Or if you had someone play you, what character, who would that character be?
Okay. I will I will use the title that I was gonna use for the book about my life, but I decided the books I'm gonna be writing is a section of my life, which is the situationships. And those books will be coming out sooner than you know. But the title was The Girl Inside the Image.
Mm,
And it would really be about my life, from the little insecure nerd to being the only black girl, to going back to a black school, to being jumped by girls, the quiet, they're like, why they jump the quiet girl down the street, to being attacked and jumped by dudes for no reason, got a dance rehearsal, can barely move, all swelled up, just craziness. But no matter what I've been through in life, I still get on that stage and I rock out as if my life is perfect. But it'll just have all the dynamics, and the climax of the movie, or just like my life now, just finding me again and finding what truly makes me happy. Because, like you said, a lot of stuff can be replaced, but I can't. So
indeed.
I think it'd be kind of dope, because my life is pretty much like a movie.
Got you. Got
Yeah.
So, and you said the name of that was, you said the girl within the girl, say that again.
The Girl Inside the Image.
The girl inside the image.
Hmm.
Okay.
You better not be writing it down neither, Swerve.
And the question I have for you is, the girl inside the image, before I move, what is the image?
T-Quest.
Okay. Gotcha. I just want to make sure. And then the last one question I have for you is,
Uh,
if you had all the access in the world, which basically we do because of social media, but there are restrictions.
yeah.
Give me 5 artists, producers, whoever that you would love to work with. Producers, hosts, engineers, whoever that you would like to work with?
I would love to work with Swervy. um, well, I would love to work with Missy. I would love to work with Little Kim. Um, I would love to work with Timberland, Sierra. um, and that's 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm putting Swerve in my 5.
Mm.
Huh?
You know, I said I would love to work with you. You in my top 5, Swerve.
I was dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
What? Who is that?
I'm dreaming.
He told me he was dreaming.
I'm
All
s-
right.
I heard
So
my
Swerve,
name. My eyes was closed. I heard my
She's
name
so
in my dream.
active.
yeah, I asked her the question of who would be the 5 people that she would want to work with, whether they were artists, producers, engineers, hosts, whatever. And you came up first. So it looks like you have some work to do, sir. You have some work to do, sir.
She know my number. She know how to call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I will not keep you any longer. This has been a very eye-opening, as you see, very revealing. There were some other things that I was going to bring up, but I was like, nah, I'll save some of that
What?
for later. Um,
Tell me what
but
it is. You ain't got to get into it. Now I'm curious.
yeah, well, you brought part of it about your fight
Mm.
situation and stuff like that, but we'll get back into
Oh,
that
okay.
at another time. So,
hmm
do you have anything for us before we leave?
I want to say thank you for this unexpected interview.
Mhm.
Because like I tell certain people, I love what I do as an entertainer, as a radio personality, and being there for people. But to be honest, I love the other side. I love to be interviewed. I like just being the entertainer on the
Well,
side I'm supposed to be on the most. So I this has been dope, and I have a genuine love and respect for each and every one of you guys, even though we don't converse on the regular. I still appreciate you guys more than you can ever imagine. Especially you, Square Knot.
Oh boy.
And Swervy and Joey and Miss
Word.
Official and Miss T and Rod and Silent, like all you guys. Cause growing up, when I grown up, we'll get into this industry. I'm just like, what I really want is for people that have my back, and I ain't gotta question it, and know there's no hidden agendas or motives, and to have people around me that's not going to take, but to actually pour into me.
right.
So for you guys to really be on this thing, and it was so unexpected, and I hope it actually listen to it, and then actually to have something to say after, and just to give me your time, which is precious, that means a lot.
Well, we're here for you. You're a part of the group, and
Mm.
you have just stepped into the member interview zone. I told you I would catch you off guard one day.
Hey, but I'm always ready.
Yeah, you was ready. I have to give you that. You were at the ready on that. So
Yeah.
I will just say this. Of course,
Mhm.
T Quest, I love you. You've been great from day one that I met you. I remember when I came around the curve at the Fleet conference, and you were like, "Square Knot," and you came running up to me. I was like, from that day forth, I knew you were going to be all right with me. So
Yes. Yes.
everything's good. I appreciate the work that you do. I do follow you, as you know, because I'm the one that comes back and tell you, what are you doing this for when you should be doing this?
Oh, I know, and I've changed it. It's all about me now.
Yeah, partially. But
No.
but you know what?
Mhm.
I'm just proud of
Yeah.
you as well. I like what you do. Keep doing what you're doing. And of course, if there's anything that I can do to help, I'll
Yeah.
definitely do it. Of course, the group is here. And we definitely appreciate you. When we asked you about, we started talking about growing the membership and things of that nature, you were definitely an integral part of that. And we really appreciate you for that. Silent Professor, I call him SP, says
Yeah.
salute. And we all salute you. So we thank you. And I would say this is the DJ Information Group. And this is your man, DJ Square Knot. And we have talked to this young lady here who has given us a chance to dig into her inner being a little bit more, to learn more about her from the many, many different hats that she wear. Okay,
Oh,
of course, there are many, many more that we
yes.
could have delved into, but we decided to just do these few here for now to just give the
Mm-hmm.
main insight to who this woman is. She's a Connecticut native, but now she's in the Midwest doing her thing. But to hear her say it, to hear everyone else say it, not even her, T-Quest is everywhere. Because
Oh
I
my
guarantee you,
goodness.
there's a DJ in every state that at some point when they're playing a set, they got a T-Quest drop somewhere.
Aw.
So her voice is all over, y'all. She has a very beautiful voice. She has a very sexy voice, and she knows how to use it. So T-Quest, we really appreciate you joining us. We really
Yes.
appreciate you sharing. We have learned from you, and we look to learn further from you. And we just want to give you a big old hug. How about that?
Oh my God. Well, we gonna have to do it virtually because
Virtual
everybody, some
hug.
people,
Here you
yeah,
go.
some people
Yeah,
got
social
cooties.
distancing, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So last time I gave people hugs at the Fleet conference, I went back home and caught a cold. Somebody
Oh
had
my.
germs and cooties. But can I do my outro?
Of course you can.
Okay, great. This is the one and only T Quest. You can follow me on all social media platforms at TQuestGLM. Download that T Quest mobile app in your Google Play Store and your App Store for free. Make sure you continue giving me them 5 stars and those great reviews. Download that T Quest app as well as sign up for my mailing list on my website, GottaLoveMeWorld.com. And if you need me in any of my services, you can just email me at tquestglm@gmail.com.
You guys have heard it all. Thanks, everybody, and good night.